Our final speaker before a little chat amongst ourselves is Nick Appleyard from ESA, talking about connectivity infrastructure. Nick, I can see your picture over there in the technical booth. Wonderful, over to you.
Hi there. Yes, so I'm Nick Appleyard. I head the Space Solutions department in ESA, and what we're trying to do there is to make all of this commercially sustainable, to turn the whole thing into a business ecosystem which isn't completely reliant on government and institutional funding. So I've been very encouraged as speaker after speaker has come up this afternoon and talked about customers, because this is how we're going to have to set this up. And as Michael was saying, your customer is what determines the sustainability of the chain you're working in. So let me see if I can pull together some of the threads and then refer that back to the infrastructure investments which we're making. If we're trying to introduce new technologies into the lunar system here, which is a completely new market. There's no market there at all, not even any customers there at the moment. This is very high risk. This is the archetype of a high risk investment proposition. So we need to work out how we're going to stage our way into that. And as Carissa was saying, the best customers at the moment and the highest volume of customers at the moment are terrestrial, right? There's customers on the ground. So this is our approach when we talk about the individual operational businesses that we're trying to encourage into the lunar system, is let's start with things which work as businesses on Earth. And then we can be transferring that across into the moon. So for those of you who in the previous session, you'll have heard the announcement from my colleague Liz about what we're doing in space resources. So talking to the mining industry on Earth about, well, what can you do in terms of reducing your water use, in terms of lightweighting, in terms of automation, in terms of moving away from diesel engines and towards solar power supply, which would prepare your business to be able to operate on the moon. And at the same time become more profitable on Earth, right? Because all of those things actually feed a terrestrial business model as well. So you make a business on Earth better, and you prepare it for lunar operations. And this very much, I think, mirrors what Joost was saying about his power propositions. That you have a terrestrial business which is a generator of revenue, and you use that to cross-subsidize into a lunar business, and then the lunar business is transferring expertise and knowledge back to your terrestrial business and improving its profitability. And that's a very harmonious situation. We would certainly encourage that behavior from ESA point of view, and we will try to help companies who are on that journey and trying to become established in that way. So then what infrastructures then do you need if you are going to go and dig holes on the moon and you're going to sell the water that you dig up to those who are going to generate propellant from it, or whatever your downstream supply journey is going to be? Upstream from that, what infrastructures are you going to need to support you? Energy is one of those. So thanks to Joost, he's told us how we're going to get our energy for these operations. Another one, though, because we're going to be very reliant on automated or semi-automated systems, the vehicles and the machinery which is going to be operating in these systems is going to have to rely very heavily on automation. We're going to need a communications infrastructure to support that. To control it, and also for navigation and management of those vehicles. So one of the things that we're now investing in ESA is to establish a telecommunications and navigation infrastructure for the moon. And this follows the same kind of pattern as what I was talking about. You start with what you can already do for Earth, and then you look at how you're going to transfer that capability into the moon. So, hey, with the space industry, we know how to do telecommunications and geolocation on Earth. We use satellites for that. So for that reason, and following the same logical process I was talking about with the mining industry, we're now working towards how do we transfer that expertise to the lunar orbit, get some satellites working around the moon that can provide the same service infrastructures to support lunar operations. We're calling this the Moonlight project. And the light part of that is because we're most likely going to be using optical communication links, laser communication links for the main communication backhaul. So this is something that we're developing for the terrestrial satellite market anyway. And so we transfer that knowledge across. We are working on a Pathfinder mission right now. We're just getting that under contract, and we'll be hoping to ride share with NASA and get at least a precursor service operation going around about 2024. And then we will, and in parallel with that, we are doing the phase A, phase B studies to establish what the real thing is going to look like, what its technical specification is going to be, what its financing and partnership model is going to be, and who the participants might be, so that we can put what will become a constellation of satellites in lunar orbit, providing these services, and we're hoping for service operation going live in 2027, which will then provide a telecommunications link to support operators on the moon, and will provide a navigation link to support operators on the moon. So kind of watch this space, and if you're in those sectors of the industry, then please approach us when we get our tenders out. Which I'm hoping that the first tenders may be going out next year for this, which we can then use in order to put together the financing package. In order to get to that 2027 operation. I think there'll be a session tomorrow. My colleague Bernard Hoofenbach will be talking tomorrow for those who might be potential users of that service. We're going to have engagement workshops around that and pull that story together. So Bernhard will talk about that in tomorrow afternoon's session. I think he's on at 15:30, and a bit more inspiration around this project, which is whenever you get involved in lunar operations or anything off planet, then it's inspiring stuff. But just to kind of wrap this together, then it is about codependence between many actors who are going to have to work together, and whose businesses are going to rely on one another in order to establish an ecosystem of operation here. So yes, each entrepreneur and each business has to make a business case, but those business cases are going to be interdependent upon one another. So we're going to have to rely on one another's revenue streams and one another's actions as customers in order to support the whole ecosystem. ESA's eyes are on all of this system. We're looking for where we can add the most value in order to strengthen those chains, as Michael said, from customer to customer to customer, all the way down the chain. And all the way down to the far end, which is making the propellants and creating the energy for the lunar settlement and the deep space exploration. So that's all kind of empowered by this. But there are many stages along the way, and they all have to be profitable along the way, both along the supply chain and over time. I'll stop there and allow a little bit of time for a wrap up. Then we'll keep it brief and pass back to Central Control.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Central Control here speaking. We are over time, but I'm going to try to carry on till about 6:15 so that we can at least ask a few questions to all of our speakers. Thank you so much, Nick, and for your enthusiasm as well.